don't know how they do that thing, whether if she join, whether they would have to accept it or something. But yeah.
Let's start.
Okay, so the speaking test. Sister Cynthia, I was asking your name and you said your name is Cynthia. And I said no, that's not your name. Now, when you're asked what is your name in the speaking test, it's a simple question and it's a direct question. Now, every direct question would usually require a direct question. And the other day we talked about direct questions as the WH questions. Was it here or another place that we talked about that? It was here. We made mention of these guys. Then we made mention of I think there's another one. And then this final guy. Now, we talked about these questions. These are usually what the direct question usually entails. Whether 5 WH and then 1H questions. Now, when you have these questions, they are direct questions, and direct questions require direct answers. As simple as what is your name is, you can also have issues with it. As simple as it is, what is your name? By the time I say something like, my name is, it has become problematic. When asked what is your name, it's a direct question. So I can basically say, Joseph Ivalry Omosimo, or any other name that I wish to tell them. Now, I want to pronounce my name because some of us, especially those of us from somewhere in the south, we used to have some botanical names, some tongue-twisting names actually. So if you have a name like that, it is also important that you pronounce it bisyllabic. I don't think there's anyone that has some tongue-twisting names here except me. What's your name, sir? Ibru. That's not your name, sir. Did you hear him? I know you heard it, Brian, but did you hear the first name? That's another thing you want to take note of in the speaking test. Your speaking test, yes, it's graded on the spot, but it is also graded by another examiner. So it is usually graded twice. The first one is by the person you're speaking with. And the second grading is the recorded part of the test will be replayed by a second examiner. So when you're talking, another very important thing is you have to talk out. Did I say loud? You have to speak out loud. And that's the English word for it. You have to be very audible when speaking. So that the whatever they're using to record can pick up what you're saying. So it is important to take note of these little things. Now, it's a simple question, what is your name? But you can have issues with it. When you repeat, there's this thing that they used to teach us that time, whether logic can be philosophy. They said something fallacy. That has to do with something like repeating the question. There's something like that. So basically, you want to just avoid that fallacy. It's actually a fallacy in English language. When you answer a question, it is assumed that you're trying to buy time to think of the answer to that question. So it is important you want to avoid that. When you're asked the direct question, simply answer the question directly.
So we should not say, oh, my name is, we should say, that's what's your name, Abidemi Ranger. Okay, we should not say, my name is.
And as it is in your passports.
Doing what? Are we to carry our passport when we're going?
Yes. Okay. And the examiner would want to see your passport, even at passports. Now, the speaking test is usually divided into 3 parts. The first part is what we call the familiar questions. Then the second part, we call it the cue card. Then the third part, we call it the follow-up questions. First part, familiar questions. Second part, the cue card. Third part, familiar questions. Now, there might be a problem with the first part. Yes, it's called familiar question, but there might be a problem. And the only problem is that you may not answer certain questions as they should be answered. Now, what do I mean? They are going to be asking you direct questions. You don't just answer a question and then keep quiet. That's one problem many of us, especially people that don't usually like communicating with people, that's one problem they usually have. When you are asked a question, you just provide a direct answer and then keep quiet. Yes, it is good that you provide a direct answer, but what is not good is to keep quiet. When you provide a direct answer, you want to also elaborate on that question that you're being asked. Like you want to talk more on that question that you're being asked. And that is where these guys would come in. If, for instance, they ask you, what do you do? And you say, I work. The next question might be, where do you work? The next question might be, what do you do there? The next question might be, how long have you been there? So basically, when you're asked this kind of question, you just want to answer them directly. When you're being asked, rather, what do you do? You want to provide a direct answer to the questions. I work with this agency, and this is what I do there. I've been there for so period of time. Now, what you've successfully done is to provide an answer to the question while also elaborating. And again, it is important to speak till the examiner stops you.
For the direct question.
From the part 1 to the part 3 of the speaking test, it is important to speak until the examiner interrupts you. Until the examiner says, okay, thank you for your answer, blah, 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 blah. Then you have no business to stop talking. You don't have to stop talking. It is important you continue talking till the examiner interrupts you. Now, permit me to say that for some people, most people actually, the speaking test happens to be the easiest part of the test. Most people actually. Now, the reason is quite simple. There are no, do I call it timid Nigerians? There are no Nigerians that are timid. Except for a very few people. They just want to be inside themselves. Not like they're timid. When problem comes, or when the need arises, they will come out of their shell. Just for a few people that are timid. But meanwhile, why am I saying this? It's because the speaking test is actually more conversational than it's actually a test. They are just testing your ability to hold a conversation. That's why we call the first part familiar questions. These are just going to be questions about you. Questions that ordinarily they assume that you're familiar with. They can be asking you about t-shirts. Why do you like wearing t-shirts? Why do people in your community like wearing t-shirts? Do you think t-shirts? No, now you are the talk to.
Yes, we answered.
Do you think t-shirts? Why do you believe that t-shirts are? What's the question?
Why do you like wearing t-shirts?
Why do you, as a person, like wearing t-shirts?
Okay. I like wearing t-shirts because it makes me look fine, and compared to a native wear, it looks more modern to my body, and I can wear my wristwatch showing on my arm. And in addition, t-shirts has short arm, which is something I cherish a lot in clothing, and it's a type of fashion that I admire. More so, I like t-shirts because it does not allow it. It gives me freedom for um, hair penetration my skin.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tony.
Boss,
So is it meant to be talking till the examiner
Till the examiner
interrupts?
interrupts.
I just find something that will talk.
The thing is, they are actually questions that ordinarily you're familiar with, but because it's an exam now, you're actually thinking, what should I say? That's the problem. That's just the problem. If outside an exam situation, someone were to ask you, why do you like t-shirt, what would you say?
You know, there are some questions that you've never thought of. So to find the answer, you just be like start thinking about it.
That's the challenge with the test.
Imagine asking me
That's
why
the only challenge you would have with the test. Because you don't actually think about it. You snap pictures here.
Yes.
Now, why do you think people love to store memories in pictures?
Like to what?
Why do you think people like to store memories in pictures?
Probably to monitor their growth from the past to the present. Sorry.
Continue talking.
Oh, I think I should just give an answer. No.
Have to switch from the entry to the system.
You're speaking about yourself.
No. You just asked.
It's just a random question.
Okay.
Okay, probably to monitor their growth between their past and their present. To have something to smile at, probably when bored. So
Is it that hard?
Sister Alice, you read books, yeah?
Not really.
Everybody reads. Everybody reads books.
That's why you
Now, what kind of book would you take on a long journey?
Tales of Sunlight is the best book I've ever had. It always is it's always a book that would be with me till the end of time. The first pages of the book always reminds me of my childhood, and I would always
Me too.
I don't have a book like that, and I just formed it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so okay. Should I continue? Or should I should continue?
Yes, continue.
so why not interrupt us?
Because I don't like interrupting people.
Yes.
Okay, so the first pages of the book reminds me of my childhood, and I always would read it once I have situations situations in life that I have to revisit or solve.
Okay.
I like the book because it's relatable to everyday situations, and I could always confide.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tony.
Ask her.
No, Mr. Tony. Tell us something about it. Tell us something interesting about your hometown.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. My hometown. Go let's start from now. Let me just start. Okay. My hometown, I'm from Anambra State, from Umuji precisely. I was not born and brought up there, but at least during festive period, I like attending their festivals because they have some activities they carry for the car. They do normally carry which are masquerade festivals, which have different types of masquerade. There are some masquerades which are feltish. It's normal juju stuff in quotes. But there are some which humans do act under, or humans do put them on just for fun. And also why I choose festive period because that time it's all about fun. So and that's the time we normally get to see our family members and food because majority of them like coming back for those stuffs than normal period. So that is
Okay.
that's all.
Ibro.
You know answer now
What was the question?
about the shit.
Oh,
Why Igbo?
hello. Hello.
Why Igbo?
Hello. Yes. Okay, she's come. Uh-huh.
Okay, over to you, ma.
What do you want to ask me?
Uh,
Something about my village. It's my village. I don't know it's about my village. But ask me about Ibro shit.
Something like about your room.
My room.
Yeah.
Tell us something.
Ask me that question before.
Why do you think many Nigerians travel during festive seasons?
I would say many Nigerians travel during festive seasons. Most times to connect with family members because that's the time where most of our family members stays in different cities and towns. So during that period, majority people travel to
Come inside. Welcome back.
So majority people travel home to connect with their family and catch up with their family. And they also during festive period it's all about that question.
Okay,
Eh?
Mr. Chisholm.
Now thinking
Yeah,
that
so you start thinking that
Yes.
because naturally you're meant to just say it easily.
Mr.
but you now
Chisholm.
start thinking.
I'm thinking about
Tell us something about celebrating birthdays. Something interesting about celebrating birthdays.
Okay, when it comes to birthdays, it's something that comes once in a year. And why people so much love celebrating birthday because for you to stay 365 days just to meet another year, just to celebrate your birthday, is not something easy. Along the line, most of your mates or batchmates and other things, they were not opportune to witness their own, but you as human were opportune to witness your own. So I think it's something worth and celebrating. And another thing about birthday is that birthday is a place whereby people do gather, have fun. You know, we're in a generation whereby our youth so much love something that has to do with fun. So it gives them a happiness. So that's where you will come celebrate with whosoever that is celebrating and those that are looking for a life partner.
Thank you, sir.
book them for the exam. This guy is ready.
You sit there.
You don't pass.
Who? It don't already pass.
What do you do for fun?
For fun, I enjoy hanging out with friends. Most especially when I'm bored, like I don't have anything to do at home. I will just easily call my friends. We can go to the spa, we can go out just to have fun. And I remember this incident when I don't even know something was actually happening in my life, like I didn't have anything to do. So my friend, I chatted my friend, they just hung out to just feel alright. So we went out this particular day and we had a lot of fun.
Thank
fun
you.
things.
Auntie Vicky,
Yes, sir.
how far your trip?
Okay.
Okay, so we've been talking about the speaking test. Tell us about a road trip you've taken once.
Okay. A road trip to Owerri. It was it was interesting. We were like 8 number, and we saw new things like, oh god, wow. Hey, is it? Am I supposed to just say if it's about the road or just?
What's anything you think anybody can know about or should know about? It's fine. Now, okay, so this is one thing with the speaking test, yeah. You see, all the questions were asked, they are not strange. They are not strange. If you dey travel, you they carry Bible dey go. I be a lie.
You know, like.
It's simple. Why not think about that? Like now, what she did was she just related the question to her life, and maybe her question was easy. I don't know, but then she just related the question with her life. Now, yes, while it's good to be creative, sometimes it can be confusing.
Exactly.
If you're creating a story,
Yes.
it can be confusing. Except you're a lawyer.
Mm.
Except you're a lawyer. Those people can actually create stories on the spot without actually blinking an eye. And then as they do answer. But anyhow, now in the speaking test, when you're being asked familiar questions, it's not going to take as long as we talk here, actually, talking about one question. And it's not just going to be one question. It's going to be questions based on hobbies, questions based on work, questions generally based on experiences, our daily experiences. And that's why they are called familiar questions. They are not actually questions that you do not know the answers to. Just that because, like I said earlier, it's an exam, you're not actually thinking in that direction. You're thinking about something else, and you're not thinking that, okay, they might ask you questions about your hobbies. Now, that's where the problem comes. So if you're someone that cannot actually talk for a long time, you might likely have issues at this point. Now, when you're asked all these questions, all they just want you to do is two things. Number one, answer the question. Number two, elaborate on the question. And they just want you to speak until the examiner interrupts you. And the examiner would interrupt you within 10 seconds of answering that question. The speaking test would last basically maximum of 20 minutes. You know, they pass 20 minutes. And that's if you and your examiner on the flow well, like she and the examiner, or maybe him and his examiner, they might likely flow well. Then the next thing we need to take note of, which is the most difficult part of the speaking test actually, is the cue card questions. This is where they are going to give you a topic. Let me just send this sample question to us quickly. Okay, I'll still get a number like this. This is okay. Do I have a
If I send this one, just stay.
It sure doesn't. This phone there. Miss Debbie. Miss Debbie, do you have that document, please?
You just sent it to me.
Sir?
You know,
I didn't send it to you. Can we open to the first page? Are we there? Now, the cue card questions. The cue card questions, the first one you have there says something, describe an item. That's not page 1 actually, it's, I think page 8 or page 11. It says describe an item in your home that was broken and then repaired. Is that what it says? It says something like you should say what the item is, then you should say how the item was broken. Then it says you should say how you got that item repaired. Then it says that you should explain how you felt about that item, or how you felt to repair this item or something. Now my question is, what do you think they're asking you at this point? Very simple question, I guess. They're asking you a very simple question. Mr. Ibrahim, what is that one thing in your home that was broken that you repaired? Sir?
His wristwatch.
I know. His wristwatch, have you? Now your wristwatch, how was it broken? How did you repair it? And what do you feel? How do you feel about having to repair it when it was broken? Blah, blah, blah.
okay. Came back from next class and I removed my wristwatch and placed it on my table while I was working on my laptop. Mistakenly, I flipped my hand and I touched the wristwatch. It fell onto the ground and the screen got broken. I took it to the Dulce market at my place in Abuja and I gave it to watch repairer and he fixed it. He changed the screen of the watch and gave me another one. I went back home very delighted. I was very sad when it got broken because it cost a lot to repair. And when I finally got to repair it, I was very happy because it means a lot to me. It's something I used to take out every day time I'm going out and I used to check my time. But I'm not conversant with taking my phone out and checking the time on my phone. In addition, the wristwatch made me very happy in such a way that it allows me to set my time to the exact time that I want. Even my joy was so much that I met my friend on the road while I was coming back and I showed him how happy I am with my wristwatch that got broken was repaired. It indeed is such an happy moment for me. In addition, the wristwatch, when it got broken, how sad I was. I had to call my dad. I told him something.
For wristwatch, guys. Everybody was losing his watch.
But even the exam I was like, for wristwatch. He said, if you find out your friend,
I think your father.
let me hear you. I think the exam I'm not taking, it's okay. He's looking for
It's stronger.
I'm looking for what is that.
Now you see, this can actually happen when you're not aware of what to actually or how to actually follow the conversation. Now, in essence, that's the presence. That's why rather you have those bullet points. And that's the importance of having those bullet points. They are meant to actually guide you. Now, please come in. You're welcome, sir. We are currently
I'm
in
receiving
class. So sorry, sir.
Okay.
Now, that's the essence of having the, how do you call it, the bullet points, and that is what you aim to achieve with them. You want to follow each of those bullet points one after the other. Now, in the speaking test here, there's something called, there are two things that you actually need to pay attention to when it comes to this part of this cue card. Number one is a proper identification. Now, in your case, in the case of the wristwatch, everybody knows that although there are different brands of wristwatch, there's almost like just one type of wristwatch. There's almost like just one type of wristwatch. Maybe you could have simply said it's a digital wristwatch or an analog wristwatch. That is what this would basically pay attention to. But when you said just wristwatch, when you just said it's a wristwatch, then we could assume, okay, it can either be this or this. Now, but if you had made mention of something like a book, now this is you'd actually have issues here identifying the subjects of discussion. Are we together? Mm-hmm. Now, a proper identification basically wants you to properly identify the item of discussion or whatever you're discussing in a way that devoids itself of any forms of ambiguity.
Ambiguity.
Check the word, please. I don't even know how to spell it, but check the word. I think this is it. Check what it means. Sometimes.
Check it, student. Your daddy.
No, you do not say. The thing is that I've already said about all the previous like where it says what is it. I should have emphasized on what it is.
That's what he's trying to say.
Yes.
But I don't think you're going to talk as long as you.
He allowed
you to just keep talking. So I don't think you're going to talk as much as that.
Okay.
So yeah,
because the thing is, he once told us that if you have, maybe they asked us, if you have passed through one cue card, one plate, you should not be going back to it. So that is why I was talking more about my effects.
No, yes,
because I cannot go back
to
how
what,
what's the kind of watch. I think this speaking should be easy than other ones.
It's easy, but the thing is, you know, when you are an exam scenario circumstances, you return the answer.
You never know what question.
Yeah.
It might be a question that you don't have any idea.
You expect something professional, then next you just see something.
Oh, yes, just bring it.
I learned something about storytelling, and giving an example. Like you said, one of the first things that you like about the book is the first thing that it relates to life. It makes us want to pay more attention to something. And when she said one of the moments was when he had something with her life and he had to talk with her friend. It brings us
I
I think you should be able to situation whereby you don't know something. Like if they ask you what to do, you can say, I don't really know much about this, but the little I know, you explain the examiner might understand and say, okay,
one can say I don't know much about
you can say it. I don't know much
the way
about
you
this,
said
but
it
the little I
was,
know.
if you are not comfortable with the question, you can politely decline. They suggest you suggest what you want.
Or you can decline the question.
You can say politely, or you have to find a way to
Go about it.
can we talk about this instead? But if the examiner doesn't agree that since it's already recorded, they would just count it as normal since you already said that you are not conversant with that.
Just say you don't really know about it, but just say something, small thing about it. and the examiner might even understand that. So, okay, let's go to another question.
Yeah. That's if you can still attempt it. But if you cannot attempt it at all, then you suggest other questions.
No matter how easy, because imagine you plant what you see from home.
Okay, what do you mean?
It's something not unclear.
That's something that's not clear.
Yes.
Okay.
The quality of being open to more than one interpretation or inexactness. That means it's ambiguous. It's not defined.
You're just moving.
Everything is just say which word.
Mine
Just
is
book.
unclear.
Okay. Unclear. Like what type of book is one?
Or open to more than one interpretation.
That's you.
It's not even. I know ambiguous.
What should be this one?
For the exam.
No, it's not from the exam. Better go and read your book.
Nothing like reading the concept. I saw one book at the bookstore. Sure. One big iron. You have it.
Who's writing next month?
She's writing.
Yeah, I'm writing next month. Must you point that to me?
I know writing.
Be careful. He's writing next month too. The person sitting next to you is writing next month.
So you are writing a year.
She's opening the floor for us.
No.
Saturday is first.
No, somebody opened it last.
And then
Last week, Saturday.
Sorry, please.
Please can we go about let someone also answer another question before we start with
Answer what?
another question.
Should we ask you?
No, me I don't do my.
You want to laugh on I can ask you.
What question? Ask now. I know on it.
Let's do the question. Okay.
But that same question, eh?
That same
That's the
question.
one you answered. Everybody must not have that same response.
Yes.
You can ask that same question.
Another object.
So yeah, this is black.
This is black. You're very new.
Describe something. No, this
Like this.
Describe something that was broken. What is it? How it was broken? How you got it repaired? And how you felt about it?
So what if sorry to interrupt, what if that thing cannot be repaired?
And you say why? You think of that can
Follow the
be.
question.
Yeah.
You said it was repaired. So follow the question.
Okay. So where were we, please?
And
That
Ambiguity. Please, what's the meaning, sir?
So you
something that is unclear or that has more than one interpretation.
That's the Bible for you. Yes. When you translate things to another language, when you transliterate rather, it becomes ambiguous. Now, why did I say the Bible? Because all of us will get different interpretations of the Bible. Let's continue back to our speaking. Now, when it comes to this guy, a proper identification, you want to avoid any form of ambiguity. You want to avoid anything that would make your, how is it called now? Your speech or whatever you are identifying, you're trying to talk about. You want to avoid anything that would make it unclear to your audience. What will make your audience now think, oh, what is this guy they really talk about? You just want to avoid it. Are we together?
Yeah.
You just want to avoid any form of ambiguity in your speaking. That is what this proper identification helps you to do. Then we have a proper use of outline. a proper use of outline. And what is a proper use of outline? A proper use of outline simply refers to, notice how each cue card in that long list of cue cards that I sent to you, that long list of questions, notice how each of the cue card have certain bullet points. They've already been outlined for you. What you need to basically look at in order to answer these questions. These are the things that you must put into consideration when attempting to answer this question. I must talk about what the item is. I must talk about how the item was broken. I must talk about what I did to fix the item or how I fixed the item. I must also talk about what was the last thing? How I felt about the whole situation. Then if you look again, you should see another cue card. What's the second cue card? The second cue card. There should be a second cue card that says describe an ambition or something.
Okay, describe an ambition that you haven't achieved.
Describe an ambition you haven't achieved. Notice again, there are bullet points. What ambition is, why you haven't achieved it, what you've done, what you did to,
And
what you did, and how you felt about it. Now, basically, this is what your cue card is always going to look like. This is what your cue card.
So the cue card tend to change because the first cue
The
card,
topic changes,
the cue card,
but the idea does not change.
yes,
Do you get?
the topic changes. The first way you're going to answer the question changed from the second way. The first second was like what it is. You haven't achieved it.
Why you haven't achieved it?
Why you haven't achieved it. What you did and how you felt about it.
Exactly.
So the first one was what it is. How was it broken? I'm trying to explain that those
The
things.
difference between each of them.
Yes.
Now, it depends on what the bullet points would have, but you would always have bullet points. That's just the essence of those things. Now, it depends on how they decide to ask the question. They can actually put what before why. They can even, none of these questions has actually asked you why. Okay, this one did
This one
ask
asks
why.
why.
So it could be different. So
It's breaking.
it's breaking.
This bullet point is
It will finally finish.
this bullet point is. Do you see it in the passage? Like, do you get?
Yes, in the test you will see they would. Okay, so it's just going to be something like this. I think she said it's okay now. It's just going to be something. In my case, it was just like a piece of a book, a booklet rather. That's what it's called, Abby. It was just like a booklet, and it was just on the table. So in some cases, it could just be something on the screen. If yours is on computer, it could just be something on the screen, and that's what you'd have. So away from this, it all depends on what you have, what you're having. The cue card, either way, will be with you throughout the period of the test. Throughout the duration, not of the entire test, but of the second part of the test. That's when you would actually need it. And it will be with you. You'll be able to look at it. And again, they will give you a piece of paper. They will give you a piece of paper. Plain paper. What do you use? Piece of paper.
To write? What are you writing?
Your thoughts.
Just outline the bullet
Just
points.
whatever you want to do
I just
with
need
that
to
one.
read.
Now, what happens is they are going to give you 1 minute to think. And then this cue card now, they would allow 2 minutes for you to speak. Now, within that 1 minute, whatever you think you can do to help you speak for that 2 minutes, if you think that you must write down what you're thinking, then by all means, write it down. But if you feel there's no need to write it down, maybe you get short, so you go, you go talk this story, then there's no need to write it down. You can still leave it.
Okay.
So it all depends on you. The piece of paper that I'm going to give you is just like a guide to whatever you're going to be doing. Now, that is the importance of the speaking test or the cue card. The cue card, in the part of the cue card, 2 things you just want to take note of. One is a proper identification of the subject. Now, if they asked you to describe a child, let's even put that into use, or into perspective. If they ask you to describe a child, Mr.
Describe
a child that you know, Pikin.
Just describe it like
Describe a child that you know.
Either a boy or girl, the name, identify, just as I said.
A proper identification would mean one thing. One thing would actually help you to identify that child. The age. The age. Now, if I tell you that, is it that if I tell you okay something like, let's just say I said something like a child I know is called James. James is in primary 2. I've known James all his life because he is my neighbor's child. We were in the compound when they gave birth to him. Now, that speech is not clear.
Because I don't know how old is James.
Exactly, because you're not sure how old James is. The person that is talking might be like 200 years old. You don't know. And that time that I was still growing up now, my grandmother used to call my father a child.
A child.
My father would born me for my presence. In Mama, they call him Pikin. You can imagine. Now, that can happen. That can happen in certain situations. Anybody can actually call anybody a child. But the question is, by the time you mention the age, it is clear to whomever is listening that this person is either a child or not a child. For instance, if I say it's a 35-year-old child, it's a problem. Have you? But if I say it's a child I know is James and James is 5 years old, it's clear to the audience that this person I'm talking about is actually a child.
She's not coming. She's written an exam.
And I was supposed to call her, and I don't call her. And I was looking at her mom, but that's not
Bad character.
Mr. Joe.
so.
Mr. Joe, you don't used to call your students.
But they call you.
You call me. When?
I they call you now. Just how they call you.
No. You call me because of the registration. I was saying.
But
You know
won't
your
always call
registration.
me.
We had issues with your registration.
And that was why you called me.
And you're continuing, Mr. Joe.
No worry, now you have to start the corner.
Call me, yo.
Okay, so lastly, now there's something I was supposed to say from the beginning that I did not say. Do you know that in the speaking test, you could make a decision not to answer certain questions? Yes. Strange, yeah? Now, I said the speaking test tests your ability to hold a conversation. And how do you hold a conversation? How do you hold a conversation? It is by not just answering questions that you're being asked. You also sometimes ask questions to the other party in that conversation. Now, one way to do this is by sometimes turning down questions and suggesting others. In the speaking test again, they might ask you questions that are out of, do I say your range or your jurisdiction? Questions that you may not want to answer. Maybe, probably because you're sure that if you start talking about those things, you may not be able to talk coherently. You may be blabbing. Or maybe because you feel those questions are unethical. They are not ethical to you as a person. What do I mean being ethical to you as a person? You no one answer those questions because you feel you don't like talking about them. There are certain topics. Everybody has certain things they're not comfortable talking about.
What's your own?
Me? If you start talking about religion, I will leave the room.
Yes, you don't. I remember.
Certain people are like that. They don't like talking about religion. They don't like talking about politics. Some people don't like talking about people. Some people don't like talking about other people. Some people, again, don't like talking about football.
Ah,
I don't like
who
it.
who no go like talking about football?
Some people are like that.
Some people don't like talking about it.
Yeah.
They have no idea what it's going on.
Eh?
They just like, okay, talk about makeup.
I would like to talk about
So there are certain things that maybe because you don't have an idea, maybe because you don't find it comfortable talking about them. If you are asked questions relating to this in the speaking, in the part 1 only, you are allowed to turn them down.
Why are you only at one?
How you all speak out from home and tell them that you don't do that.
So how you turn them down?
Now, you could turn them down, but while you're turning them down, so just that you could actually say something like, I am not conversant with this topic, but can we talk about this topic? Maybe, for instance, I'm not conversant with football, could we talk about music? Or I'm not conversant with makeup, like she said, could we talk about cooking? So basically, when turning down a question, suggest another question. When turning down a particular question, suggest another.
Only for part 1.
Only for part 1.
Part 1 is basically going to ask about yourself,
It's
like
going to
introduction.
many times it's not going to ask you about yourself.
So what?
It's going to ask you about things
I know.
outside
Direct
yourself.
question, bro.
It's a
We
direct
call them-
question.
Yes, they are direct questions and they are familiar questions. We call them familiar questions. They are going to ask you questions. They are going to ask you questions about yourself, but at some point, they are going to now leave you and talk about other things that are not even related to you.
Yeah, I've seen one question whereby the person said, describe what is in your area. What is something that's fun to do around your area? Just that's also included in part 1. You should describe it and how to reach that place and things like that. So in your
Yeah,
area now, where do you stay?
Now, what is one fun thing that can be done?
10.
Children play.
Okay.
Are you not in Nigeria? So you don't play 10.
So that's a question that you have. I saw it. I was like, oh wow, what's fun in my area? Like,
As you start thinking.
you want to describe how to reach that place.
How to reach your area?
How to
One
reach that
fun
place.
thing.
Okay.
One fun thing in my area is the river.
Where's that?
The river. River not in my area, but the imaginary. So you could basically just imagine about one fun thing.
It must not be true.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Now
Okay,
in the
it's
speaking test,
It's
test,
rude.
the only thing that necessarily has to be true is your name.
Okay.
In fact, in the entire IELTS test, the only thing that necessarily has to be true is your name. And now that the test is even computerized, they are no longer asking you to write down your name. So everything can be fictitious, except when they ask you to introduce yourself. Yes, sir?
Yes, what's your name? Do I have to put more emphasis on it?
No, they asked you what's your name. Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
No, you say I should not say Ibrahim, I should say my full name.
Yes.
I like Ibrahim.
Exactly.
That's
That's all.
well, that last name now.
I'm not
I like-
Did you hear
him?
No.
No,
that is
I'm saying
Ibrahim.
it like this because
You want to say that like this?
No, I'm not saying it.
Shout.
What's
No,
your
you know you have a very low voice.
Yeah.
So you hardly get. Okay, what's your surname?
Ayla.
Ibrahim. So what's your name fully?
Ayla Ibrahim Bulu.
Okay.
Well, I'm shouting.
Do you
You
talk
have
to
to use
people?
your voice like.
Wait, do you talk to people?
I don't like talking.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing with this
If I'm
person.
inside with people, I used to talk.
No,
But
I
you don't
really
talk to me.
She don't talk to people
I
outside.
talk to people that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, me too.
No,
As I'm
we
here,
know
like this, I
ourselves.
talk to everyone. But if you see me outside,
Okay. I'll see it.
But you have to talk to the
It's not a matter of. It's not whether we see you outside. Like, you know, there are some people. If they are coming for a place the first time, you won't actually know that that's their first time of being there.
yeah.
You won't actually know. But there are some people. If they are coming to a place for the first time, there will be like that fowl where they talk say if you come new compound, they will stand with one leg. And
Yeah.
we know ourselves. So this one just keep quiet. No
Yeah,
worry.
because
No
when
dey like that.
she knows herself when we see her. When she very scared. She's that new fowl.
I just want tiptoe first. Observe the area then.
Okay, so back to our discussion, please. Now, where were we, please? What's something? In the part 1 of the speaking test, you are allowed to turn down questions that you're not comfortable with, that you're not familiar with. In the part 1 only. Now, when it comes to the part 2, you know, you don't know, you must talk. That's because the cue card is selected at random and given to you. It's selected at random and given to you. Now, you just have to talk on the topic. Now, while talking on the topic, it is important that you remember to be creative if it is not something from your experience. What do I mean by being creative? You can decide to tell a fictitious story. I no wan say make you lie because until Alice now go tell her pastor say na joke say make she lie. So it is important you tell a fictitious story if you don't know anything about the topic. But whatever fictitious story you're telling, remember that there is this part which is called the part 3, the follow-up questions.
So they will ask a question on part 2 of what you said. Now, wow.
No, they will not ask you exactly questions on it. They'll basically ask you relate to what you had said in the part 2. Let's say, for instance, they might ask you if you've complained before. Describe a time when you complained about a thing. Describe a time when you complained about a thing. Now, the part 3 might now be asking you, do you think it is important to complain? Do you think it is important to complain to businesses? How do you think complaints help businesses grow? Something like that. Now, it's just now left to you to make reference to what you said in the part 2.
And what if you don't make reference?
Now, if you don't make reference to it, it shows that you were not even sure of what you were saying. You were just saying things that
You have to remember what you said in part 2.
you just have to try to remember some
answer
of the
part
things you
3.
said in the part 2.
Oh my God.
So even if you're telling a fictitious story, no go throw away everything from your head. You could try to remember some of them, so you could actually make reference back to those things. Are we together?
Yeah.
So that's the speaking test for you. Now, away from all this English that I was speaking, the test, they will use 4 criteria to bring your speaking test. Who is Igala here? Is there any Igala here? No. Bros, where are you from?
Anambra State.
Bread. Say it.
Bread, not bread, bread.
I'm see.
Sister, where are you from?
Ekiti.
Ekiti.
Mm.
This word,
Hey.
Yoruba can pronounce it.
how do you pronounce that word?
He's looking at everybody. He's looking at everybody. You pronounce it.
Is it like
No, how do you pronounce that word?
You know, they used to say the H is silent.
Honest.
honest?
Honest.
Now, quite interesting is the fact that you see all these things, they don't count against us. So basically,
go practice honest.
You say anything you want.
pronunciation,
Does not count.
they'll check your pronunciation, but there is something that is wrong. There's something in English called mother tongue interference. In any language, there's something called mother tongue interference. If a language is not your first language, there is no way you would speak it as perfectly as the original speakers of that language. Our mother tongue may actually not be our first language, and that is why some of us may actually struggle speaking our mother tongue. It happens. The born children these days, they don't speak Igbo. I lie. They're plenty. She knows. So basically, in your speaking test, there is only one situation that certain things. Look at this word. This is an English word, Abi.
Yes.
And this is an English word. This is another English word. And then this is another English word. This is one English word, and this is another English word. Now, if the extent of your mother tongue interference falls in this category, replacing this English word with this other English word will count against you in the exam. So if I, instead of saying I want to go shopping, and then I said I want to go chopping, it's common with us from the Niger Delta.
I worry people.
Not them. Most especially, it's common with them. All those bended people. And I like that. Now, or, like you said, not bled, it's called bread. Now, it all depends on your level of that mother tongue interference. How well can you control it? If it's still at this point, trust me, it will affect you. But it will not affect most people that do not replace English words with English words. So if yours is honest instead of honest, then there is no problem. No worry. No just think. Okay, so basically, they will test, the first criterion they will use to grade your speaking is your pronunciation. This is your ability to pronounce words as clearly as possible, very clearly. If you can actually pronounce these words clearly in a way that your audience understand that this is what you're saying, then it's fine. Now, I know she has an accent. She has a British accent. Have you? Oh, you don't get? Yeah, I just say you get one British accent. Now, there are many of us that actually used to fake or to feign accents. British accent. They speak through our nose. Do you do that?
No.
But Nigerian girls do that a lot. Have you? Bragging. No be so.
Some girls.
Nigerian girls do that
All
a
girls.
lot. Okay, now some of them. I think it's all of them. Majority, Abi.
And sometimes probably when you meet someone new, you want to give.
This is normal voice.
I don't catch me. I don't catch me. Yeah. Jones.
Okay, so basically, it's just like that. Please, if it's not part of you, if it's not part of you to use British accent, please pronounce those things the way you used to pronounce them. Now, the reason is quite simple. If you start with a British accent, the examiners will tempt you, especially if they are Nigerians. Very, very anyhow sort of people.
Wicked people.
The examiners will tempt you because they will start with, in fact, they would actually conduct the test with a British accent. You might want to follow. Please, be who you are. If you are that Anambra man, don't start to speak. then problem non-core.
Well,
Please
let's-
speak
like
as
the way she
clearly
speaks
as
now.
possible.
I think she's used to
Speaking like that.
Yeah.
because if you want to, no matter how, see the way I'm talking now. If I want to talk another way, my voice will change. If I'm in front of exam, I'm not going to speak like this.
How will you
That-
speak?
I'll speak that breaches small.
And you want to speak in a more structured way, so that they will know that okay, this person is learner.
Yeah.
This person
Exactly.
knows what he's saying. I
You know-
understand what he's
Some
saying.
of us, like me now, that attended community secondary schools, were not taught to speak formally. We only learned to speak formally in situations like this. But for some people like Shena, maybe she's used to
Yeah,
speaking,
I'm very used to speaking
formally.
formally.
but we're not all used to that. Now, many of us would actually have two faces. Many of us actually have two faces. Now, the reason is, if we are in a formal setting, everything will change. We will leave that Agbero outside, that community secondary school, we'll leave them outside, then we'll now start looking for the Harvard version of us. But please, if that Harvard version of you,
No day.
you know,
No
really
dey.
day,
I beg.
keep on. Now, the reason is, they would actually pay attention to the wrong pronunciations than the right ones.
If you use
Whether anything you're doing,
okay.
they would actually pay attention to the wrong pronunciations than the right ones. That's one of the things that you want to pay close attention to, as this will actually help you in the test. Try to pronounce any words you're trying to pronounce it as clearly as possible. Be clear in your pronunciations. Then another criterion they would use to grade your speaking is what we call fluency and coherence. Many of us would actually have issues here. Especially me.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
When during the test, somebody says communication and somebody says communication, will they grade them?
All of them are the same thing.
Okay.
You just use
Is
your
that what you're talking about?
very sure.
Okay.
Now, you see, fluency and coherence. Why I said most of us would have issues with this, especially me, is because some of us, when we are speaking, our thoughts actually are not arranged. We speak, then go back, then come again, then go back again. What do I mean? I might have, like, let's say, point A, B, C. I might remember while talking about this, and I'm done talking about this, and then I'm talking about this. I might not remember while I'm talking about this, something about this one will now pop into my brain, and I would want to add it.
Is it bad?
Very bad.
Yeah, that was what I know.
Very bad. Now,
That's
we
like
want
people
to
saying they
avoid
don't-
this.
Yeah, that was what I was saying. I don't want to.
And you see that proper use of outline that we talked about? This is exactly what it's looking at. Each bullet point you want to talk about it, exhaust it before moving to the next. Exhaust the next before moving to the next. And this will actually help the conversation to be coherent. Then fluency. Do you know that most of us used to use in our English?
That is how she starts. That's how
It is important to avoid this. There's something in English we call discourse fillers. There's something in English we call discourse fillers. And they can be anything. They can be anything. Ask yourself, what is that one word that you repeat in every conversation? that is not even relevant to that sentence. That one word you repeat in every conversation or every sentence that is not even relevant to the sentence that you're using it in, that's a discourse filler. For some people, it can be and. For some other people, it can be which, that's WHICH. It can be anything. For some people, it's so exactly. Some people, it's so. If you know this, you want to minimize using it. You want to minimize using it. So these are the things. Maybe that. These are the things that you must take note of. Fluency and coherence basically wants you to speak in a clear and fluent manner. Then away from that, we talk about vocabulary. Or what we call lexical resources. You see this guy? Lexical resources. Now, Sister Alice, what's the difference between vocabulary and choice of words?
I don't know what your answer. I don't know what you're looking for.
You don't know?
I don't know what you're looking for in your answers.
Tell us what you think.
About vocabulary.
Yes, and choice of words, yes.
Choice of words, probably choice of words are words that you normally would, use when you're having a conversation. Like probably if you speak in a certain way, you normally would use those words. Those are your choices that you would normally think about when you're conversing with someone. Then vocabulary, there are more structured words that should be used in place of just normal basic words. That's how.
Sister Cynthia, what do you think? Tell us what you think. Okay, you guys are not far from each other. Yeah, tell us what you're thinking.
Like she said, vocabulary is more structured and more understandable. While choice of word is what you just choose that okay, this is the right thing to say. Just say.
Okay. Mr. Tony, what does thou think it's?
To me, I don't know the answer you're coming from, but that's what I know I can explain it from vocabularies are those normal words that are structured. Why choice of words is that the words you commonly can explain or and you know it's common but you know it's leading to that particular stuff you are talking about. Instead of using all these ambiguous words, just use the word you know you can converse with. I will need the words you are conversing with that can explain that particular situation or that thing you are explaining.
Now, we are seated here and we've been seated for like an hour now and we've been speaking English. But now look at it this way. All the words that we've been using are English words. Have you? But can I bet you that all the words we've been using here are not all the words that we know in English? That is vocabulary.
So I say the inverse of it. I explain it.
All the words we know in English, they are vocabulary. But all the words we use, depending on the context of discussion. Do you get that now? Depending on the context of discussion. Now, we've been discussing since, but it is not all the words that we know that we've been using. Now, that is choice of words. Now, it's confusing. Do you know All the words you know is called vocabulary. But the words you've decided to use or to pick from your vocabulary in a given context, that is choice of words, or what we call in English diction.
Okay. I understand what you're trying to say. Now that means you said the inverse of it.
The other side. So basically, it is important to choose the appropriate words that are relevant in or relevant to your discussion in your speaking. Now, the lexical resources will basically look at those words that you have chosen to use. Those words that you've chosen to use in that particular context. You've chosen to use those words in that context. Use them. And this is what the examiners will pay attention to. They would look at, they would look at your vocabulary through your choice of words. That is why I would always say, if you know big words and you know the right context to use them in the right context But if you know big words but you don't know the right context to use them, please avoid them. Yes, you know the words, but you're not sure of the context to use them. Avoid them. Then finally is what we call grammatical range and accuracy. The examiners would pay attention to grammatical range and accuracy. This basically has to do with adherence to the English language. Now, what do we mean by that? You know how somebody will say Ali did not come to school today, and then would say that it's correct. And then another person will say Ali did not came to school today, and will say that it is wrong. Do you know that? Why is that? Why exactly is that?
Because of the tenses.
Why? Which happens to the tenses?
Yeah, is it past tense? Yeah.
Do you know, that is what grammar basically is. The rules governing the language. There are certain ways I am supposed to speak. Now, if there were no rule, you understood what I said initially. When I said Ali did not came to school today, you understood what I mean. But because there are rules, there's a grammar guiding the language. You said, that means it is wrong. And like that is supposed to be. That's just it. Not like you did not get the message. That's just English language for you. In your language now, how do you say good morning? In English, how do you say good morning?
Good morning.
Yes, in English. Okay, say good morning. Now that Ochutoma that you said, please translate it to English.
Morning.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's because in your language, if I were to come to you now and then in your language and then I said Oma Otutu, for instance, what would you think of? This person not to know as this language, you not to understand the rules governing this language. That's just what it is. That's just what the speaking test or the grammatical range and accuracy, that's what they check. And nothing more than this. Are we together? So basically, this is the speaking test for you. There is nothing about the speaking test that is so difficult that we cannot surpass. And there you have it. You don't sleep down the worry.
It's not me.
So, do we have any question about the speaker?
So we initially said that we need to ask us question, and we have like 10 seconds to answer. So at what speed are we to use? Are we to talk calmly, fast, or
Be yourself. How do you speak?
calmly?
Be yourself. It's very important. Any question, ma'am? Sister Vicky, any question? All right. How about you, Auntie Alice?
No question.
Okay. So we said after today we'll be having a test throughout this week. We'll be having a test throughout this week. Friday and Wednesday. I'll be Wednesday and Friday. We'll be having a test. So please prepare.
Wednesday on Friday.
Is he not speaking?
No, not just speaking.
All round.
It's writing, reading, and possibly listening. Please, if you're coming with your system, also come with your earpiece. We don't know the day we are going to do the speaking, the listening, but come with your earpiece. I usually prefer wired earpiece. Now, I've come to realize that wired earpiece carries sound accurately than wireless. So it depends on the kind of system you're using. Test which one is better. Yes, while wireless earpiece can give you all the freedom you need to actually play around, but wired earpieces still have an advantage. They carry sound more accurately from what I've seen, especially with my phone. Person go dey talk, I no go hear the person till him mouth don't move finish. E good like that.
For the exam, what
You're going to use a wired headset. They're going to give you a wired headset. Alright, I guess we'll see on Wednesday.
Okay.
And you don't even wait at all.
Because I have
Don't dey hurry. Alright,
See you.
thank you and see you on.
It's not so sweet.
Thank you, my friend.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Take care.
Thank you.